didn't invite my best friend, Chris, to my wedding after what I overheard him say. I wasn't supposed to hear it. If I'd walked into the bar 30 seconds later, if the music had been louder, if I hadn't forgotten my jacket in the back booth, maybe I would have gone my whole life thinking Chris was standing beside me, out of loyalty instead of obligation. But I did hear it, and once you hear something like that, you can't unhear it. It was my bachelor party. Nothing wild, just a few of us at O'Malley's downtown. Chris had been my best friend since sophomore year of high school. We played varsity soccer together. He slept on my couch when his dad kicked him out. I'd driven 6 hours straight when his mom passed away, just to sit beside him in silence. He was supposed to be my best man. I went outside to take a call from my fiancée, Lauren. She wanted to say goodnight. She always did that when one of us was out late. I remember smiling when I hung up, thinking how lucky I was that after 8 years together, she still felt like home when I walked back toward the bar. I heard Chris's voice from around the corner near the pool tables. He was laughing, man. I give it 2 years, Max. Someone else chuckled. That long Chris took a sip of his beer. He thinks she's perfect. Just wait until the honeymoon. Phase dies, Lauren's intense. She'll suffocate him and he won't leave. He never leaves, he'll just settle. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I might actually throw up. Another voice asked, "You gonna tell him?" Nah, Chris said casually. He wouldn't listen anyway. He's always needed someone to save. First it was me, now it's her. I stood there frozen, staring at the wall like it might open up and swallow me whole. 8 years he'd been there through all of it. Every fight, every doubt. Every time I asked, "Do you think I'm doing the right thing?" And this whole time he thought I was making a mistake. Worse, he thought I was weak. I didn't storm in. I didn't confront him. I walked back to the table like I hadn't heard a thing. I laughed at the next joke. I clinked glasses. I let him slap my back and call me the luckiest guy alive. But something in me had shifted. For days after I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he was drunk, maybe it was just stupid guy talk. Maybe he was projecting. Chris had gone through 2 brutal breakups in 3 years. Maybe he just didn't believe in marriage anymore. Still, the words wouldn't leave me alone. He'll just settle the worst part. Wasn't that he doubted Lauren. It was that he doubted me. A week later, he came over to help finalize wedding details. We sat at my kitchen island going over seating charts. He joked about the open bar. He asked if I'd written my vows yet. I kept looking at him wondering how someone can smile at you and still think so little of your choices. "Hey," I finally said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Be honest with me. Do you think I'm making a mistake?" He didn't hesitate, no. He said, "If you're happy, I'm happy," and that was it. That was the moment I knew because he didn't even blink. 2 days later, I called him. "I'm gonna have Jake Steven as best man." I said, "Silence what?" He asked, "I just think it makes more sense for who." His tone sharpened for me. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "This is about something. What did I do?" I took a breath. I hadn't planned to tell him, but I was tired of carrying it alone. "I heard you at O'Malley's." Dead silence. "All of it," I added. When he finally spoke, his voice was defensive. "You're seriously blowing that out of proportion." It was a joke. It didn't sound like one. "Come on, every guy says stuff like that. It's not that deep, it is to me." He scoffed. "So, you're cutting me out of your wedding because I made one drunk comment." "It wasn't just a comment," I said quietly. "It was how easily you said it." "There was a long pause. You've changed." He muttered, "No." I replied, "I just started listening." We didn't yell, we didn't insult each other, but something fundamental cracked in that conversation. I didn't invite him. The wedding was small. About 90 people. Lauren walked down the aisle in a lace dress that made the whole room go silent. My hands were shaking when I read my vows. I meant every word when we kissed. I felt certain, not because marriage guarantees forever, but because I chose it fully. Without doubt, Chris texted me the night of the wedding, "Congrats. Hope you're happy." I stared at the message for a long time before replying. He didn't respond. Months passed, then a year. Lauren and I had fights like any couple, about money, about whose turn it was to clean, about my habit of leaving cabinet doors open. But we also had Sunday mornings with coffee on the porch, late night drives with no destination, quiet moments that felt steady and real. There was no suffocation, there was no settling. There was just partnership. One afternoon, almost 2 years later, I ran into Chris at a mutual friend's 4th of July barbecue. He looked older, tired. We stood awkwardly near the cooler, so he said, scratching the back of his neck, "Still married?" I smiled. "Yes, still married." He nodded slowly. Guess I was wrong. I didn't gloat. I didn't say I told you so, because the truth is it was never about proving him wrong. It was about protecting something sacred from someone who didn't. Believe in it. Friendship, I've learned, isn't just about history. It's about alignment. It's about wanting the same good things for each other. Chris and I had shared a past, but we didn't share a future, and I couldn't start my marriage with someone standing beside me, who thought it was doomed from the beginning. Sometimes the hardest part of growing up isn't choosing your partner. It's realizing your best friend doesn't get to come with you into the next chapter, and sometimes protecting your marriage starts before the vows are even spoken.